things and do what I need to do, I am not going to be able to see the chat. That's why Trivy's going to read for me.
Yep. So welcome everybody. This is the November edition of the Twin Cities HubSpot user group. We are blessed to have people from all over the world here today who are joining us. Our special guest star speaker is Michelle Stinson-Ross from BusyWeb, who's going to be talking about about AI agents today. So if you're not familiar with BusyWeb, we're a growth marketing agency founded on B2B services and manufacturing companies based in the Twin Cities. We are also the hosts of the HubSpot user group, and we actually host three different ones, the Fractional HubSpot user group and also the Upper Midwest Manufacturing HubSpot user group. So I think this is technically all three of those. So we're very excited to have you today. And so our guest today, as I said, is Michelle from BusyWeb. Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
And Michelle's goal today is to give us a base understanding of AI agents. So with that, I'll turn it over and watch the chat. Michelle.
Let's get into this agenda. So just quick overview. I want to cover very quickly what an assistant is, kind of what it does, why it's useful to you. And the bulk of this is actually going to be hands-on inside. I'm going to give you a look inside our demo portal to walk you through how to set up your general AI settings, as well as how to set up an assistant. We'll talk about a few tips and hopefully answer a whole lot of questions. So first off, what are they? So inside of HubSpot, an assistant is something that helps you work. It helps you find answers faster. It helps you ideate. It doesn't automate or do any work for you, but think of an assistant as that one intern that they may not know a lot about your business, but they really are good at going to the internet or inside your portal and doing research for you. So those things that it takes a lot of time, and this filter, that filter. What about this thing? The assistants inside of HubSpot are really good at digging through the CRM and then giving you answers. So think about an assistant that way. It's just there to help you, and it's really great at answering questions and getting you answers quickly. Some of the things that assistants can do, they can summarize sales calls or notes. So the animation that we're looking at, we are looking at a lot of the built-in prompts that are inside the Breeze Assistant. We are also about to see Breeze Assistant give me a quick overview of a company and help me prepare for a meeting with that company. So, for instance, companies or contacts that you wind up emailing back and forth. Maybe you've had several meetings with, and your sales process takes a while. It takes a lot of time gathering information. But if you're doing a whole lot of these calls, one on top of another, it's kind of hard to keep them straight. One of the great things that an assistant can do is just that, help you keep things straight. What was the last thing we talked about the last time we met? What's the context of this meeting? What do I need to know to be sure that I'm going to cover everything that I need to cover? Breeze agents are really good at helping you do that. They are also good at helping you pull quick answers from your CRM. So in this animation, and I realize these are small, but I'm just trying to give you an overview. This one was one that I asked just our general Breeze agent to give me some sense of like what our current customer base looks like as an ideal customer profile. Like what sorts of things do various really great customers of ours have in common? And it was able to go through all of our data, look at how much clients have been spending, how engaged they are with us, lots of different factors, and describe to us like what our ideal customer profile is based on the reality of our customer data. Extremely helpful and this goes way faster than it would have been if I had to go individually through our CRM to pull this information together and write an ICP. Another option and another thing that assistants are great at is drafting messages. So inside of HubSpot, you can actually create an assistant that can embody however many ICPs, ideal customer profile. It can basically play the role of a persona, and you can give it an email message, a blog article, something that you're working on, and basically ask the assistant to give you feedback and how well that piece of content resonates for a particular persona or ideal customer profile. Also, really great to help dial in your messaging and kind of get you out of your own way, because I know as a marketer, I know my business that I'm marketing really, really well, and I know how we talk about it internally, but sometimes my internal view of our business kind of misses the mark with communicating with our customers or our potential customers. And sometimes it's helpful to get out of my own head a little bit and step back from the information that I know about our company and what we're able to do, and let the assistant embody a profile and tell me, oh, this really resonated. This doesn't quite hit the mark. Let's make some adjustments because this is what this piece of the message would really be interesting to this particular customer. So that's another way that assistants can help. Just remember that an assistant is your sidekick. It's not your replacement. It's not going to do work for you. It's just going to help you to work quicker, more efficiently, get to the things that need the human touch rather than chew up time-consuming time doing research or filtering or those sorts of things. Does anybody have any questions so far before I dive in?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What HubSpot is sometimes notorious for level setting. So depending on, you can have functionality depending on what levels you have.
Mm-hmm.
What you've talked about so far, Michelle, is this what levels of HubSpot do I need in order to
fantastic question. So the assistants are available at every tier of HubSpot. Wow. From starter to enterprise.
Excellent.
You have access to this, and you have access to customizing it at every level as well.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. And you talked about Breeze. That's sort of
that's the HubSpot name for all of the AI goodies.
And I think the logo that you have there of the star and the half star, that's HubSpot's iconography that says AI is here.
Correct.
Okay.
Cool. So if you're, and I'll show this to you as soon as I drop into the portal. Yes, that little icon, that little sparkle is what you're looking for anytime you're looking for any of the AI things. Then they are sprinkled and sparkled throughout our
we have a question. Tony from Nashville asks if the assistant is crafting an email draft that isn't quite in your voice, is there a way to train it to sound more like you?
Actually, yes. And that is the first thing that I want to hit on is like, what pieces of information, what context does AI inside of the HubSpot portal need across the board? Whether you're using assistants, agents, you're using different pieces of AI features, all of them need this setup information. And voice is definitely a part of that setup. So thank you for that segue question.
Well done, Tony.
So what we are looking at is our demo portal, but I also want to just call out that this is basically any portal that you guys have access to. You're going to be able to find this. Just so you know where to find it, go up to the top and click on the gear. It will take you into the system setting. And what you're looking for, if you'll scroll down just a little bit, you are looking for this AI tab. And the AI tab takes you to this screen that we're looking at now. Now, the first thing you need to know is, depending on whether or not you've been playing with this, you may or may not have turned on these settings yet. So everything that I'm about to show you depends on you turning these settings on and making them accessible to the users inside your portal. So you would have to turn this top toggle on to give users access to the AI tools. And even once you've turned that one on, you may find that this one at the bottom, the files data, may not yet be turned on. It also must be turned on in order for you to start using assistants and configuring them and making them useful to you. So just so you know, yes, in order to play with these, in order to test them, you do have to turn everything on. Once you've got it turned on, the other thing you need to pay attention to is this other tab up here called Data Sources. So I'm going to run through this fairly quickly. There are several sources of data that AI across the board inside of HubSpot needs. It needs access to information about your brand, information about your company, information about your ideal customer profiles, your personas, and also information about your products and services. This is the core of your business, and this is the core of the context that AI needs throughout your portal. So we're going to start here. Whether you're wanting to use an assistant, which is what I'm going to show you today, or if you want to use an agent, both assistants and agents use this core information. So the first thing let's look at really quickly is the brand kit. And just know that when you click edit, it is going to navigate away from this window. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. But what we want to look at as far as the brand kit is pretty much everything. We're going to look at logos. We're going to look at favicons. We're going to look at colors. But to Tony's question about brand voice, this is where you go set up all of that. And depending on how your portal is set up, it might be here in the back end. It might be under content brand. That's what this message at the top of my window is looking at. If you don't find it back here, it's probably going to take you into content. And if you look at the very bottom here, here's brand. So there are a couple of different places that you can set up your brand voice. We currently have this one set up to have an innovative, trustworthy, and helpful personality, and also a professional, informative, and confident tone. Everything in here provides you guidance. You will see that it's a maximum of 4 characteristics. We only have 3 set in here, but it will give you guidance as to how to set all of this up. One of the things that you want to pay attention to are the advanced settings. So remember I said, think of your assistant as an intern. That's incredibly important here. So in the context of your business, an intern doesn't have much work experience. They certainly don't have any industry experience, and they don't have any industry experience particular to your business. They are in a position where they have some basic skills, but they need to be taught everything about your business, about the industry that you operate in, all those things. Well, your AI assistants and agents are basically at the same point. When you first turn them on, they are a very new intern. They're really eager to help, but they don't know an awful lot. And the quote unquote job training that you give your AI is done by going into all of these advanced settings and putting in lots and lots of information.
Michelle?
Yeah, go ahead, Tracy.
Heather asks a great question. She asks, is Breeze Sandbox? Curious how providing access to client info is protected to comply with GDPR parameters.
So everything that HubSpot has done, so HubSpot has used their big brand power to negotiate how AI services and connectors access information. So HubSpot has already done all of the compliance work for us. And thank you for asking that. As soon as I have a moment, I will go fetch the article on all of the security and privacy that is built into this, but already HubSpot did a whole lot of work, and they are very transparent about what they've set up for security and privacy. So yes, everything built into here, so long as you're using it inside your HubSpot portal, it is compliant.
Excellent. Thank you.
So getting back to setting this up, provide AI with as much information as possible. There is no possible way that you could overload the AI, unlike a human being where we kind of have to take information in and assimilate it for a while before we're ready for more. The AI is ready for as much detail as you're able to give it, and the more detail you give it, the better the output it can give you. So definitely go into these advanced settings and provide, a 50-word company mission. Think about terms that you need to avoid. Think about inclusivity. Do you want to use gender neutral pronouns and nouns? Do you want to avoid idioms and slang? All that kind of stuff. Also, be sure to toggle into channel specific settings. For a lot of brands, the tone and style that you use for case studies may be different from blogs, may be different from email, may be different from landing pages. But as you get into things like podcast and social, and it becomes much more conversational, it becomes much less maybe professional, maybe a little bit more entertainment. I highly recommend that you take the time to set tone for each channel so that it really aligns with the purpose of that channel and the audience that connects to it. So that's my voice.
Hey, let me just interrupt real quick to finish the conversation about data. I did a quick Google, and I found a page on the HubSpot site that I just put into chat. The upshot of it is, and I quoted the specific thing that says, from the HubSpot website, we do not permit HubSpot AI service providers that we engage with to provide the subscription service to use your data for model training.
That is correct. So when you have the AI working through your CRM, it's providing that only to a logged in user. Like, it's only providing you just a quick look into stuff that you have access to already. Like, it's not going to provide this information to anybody outside your business. The only way a user can access this is by logging into the HubSpot portal. So back to AI and back to data sources. So that was brand. Company profile is one of the easy ones to set up. It is literally just the name, the domain, and what industry you're in. That's a quick, easy setup. Ideal customer profile takes a little bit longer to do. And there is no limit to how many ideal customer profiles, ICPs, that you can put into the system. A lot of this depends on your business. I know that especially for consumer brands, you may have a lot of ICPs, whereas for those of you that are B2B, 3 to 5 may be enough. So just think about really carefully who really represents your ideal customer, your real customers, those sorts of things, and make sure and provide that information to the AI. So as you see, I have 3 set up here. I'm actually going to go into one of these so that we can look at a little more detail as to what goes into the ICP that we provide for AI. It includes job titles, appropriate industries, location, company size, revenue. It does represent a person in this case, so that's why it's asking for age range. And it also has the ability to look at interests. Now, this is a short text box and can only take in so much, but as you can see, I was able to put quite a bit in here. And then other. This is one case where I will continue to tell you that you cannot give too much detail. Please make use of this multi-line text box and really put in important information. So things like pain points. I used the other box for pain points. And because we work a lot with marketing and CRMs and things like that, I also put in information on generally what kind of tech stack can we expect this particular ICP to use. It's really helpful to us as to how we engage, how advanced is a company on their use of marketing technology, that sort of thing. So really think carefully about like what additional details really get to the nuts and bolts of how you engage and how you talk to your potential customers, your existing customers. All of that is vital information for the AI to use. It provides a lot of context. The other thing that provides a lot of context is filling in all of this information about your products and services, providing it with a comprehensive value proposition, what kinds of pain points you as a company solve. And as you can see, I'm scrolling through quite a bit. There's a lot of detail in here. And then also the products and services. Now, this is not a product catalog where you list out like all of the individual products and how much they are and how many you have in inventory, or it is strictly just the name of the product and a description that provides context into what this is and how it helps a potential customer. This is information that helps, especially for anything that you're doing for like marketing or sales, helps the AI understand what it is you're trying to sell, what it is you're trying to help do, all of those things. So take the time to fill in all of this information about your various products and services. It will make the result that you get from your AI assistants far better. If you don't take the time to do this, you're going to get very generic responses from your AI assistants. Questions, comments, concerns from your basic AI setup?
I think the thing that I'm hearing clearly is that it's very much like employee onboarding and that intern model that you talked about.
Mhm.
It's that I'm bringing somebody new in and they've got a lot of skills, but I need to point them in the direction in which I need them to go.
Right.
And the groundwork that you're laying here is what's going to really make the magic happen.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. You were getting a lot of positive comments in the chat saying that this is great and that you're being very helpful, but no specific questions at this time.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm going to assume that you guys are very confident in filling in all of those boxes. And now I'm going to take you into how to set up an assistant. So I'm going to guide you to the Breeze option in the main menu. And we're going to open this up. And I want to start let's start at the overview, just so you see. Obviously, when you come into Breeze, it's going to give you some information about what it is, an introduction, that sort of thing. If you're tired of looking at it, you can hide it. So what you can see inside just the overview is what's an assistant? What can you set up? What are some agents that you can set up? And we're going to be talking about agents as well next month. And we're going to build on the foundation that I'm helping you start here. We're going to build on that with the agents. But I highly recommend that you start with that AI setup and an assistant before you move on to an agent. One of the things that I do want to point out to you while we're here in this window is going to look at the dashboard. As you start using AI features, as you start using assistants and agents, you're going to actually get some usage data back out of it. You'll begin to understand just how your agents and assistants are actually helping your team. And you see here under the analyze portion of the screen, I can hop over here and look and see how many assistants are we using? Which ones are we using? How often are we using them? Oh, look, there's Michelle S. That's me actually running and testing assistants in this particular demo portal. But there's a lot of data here about how helpful and useful your assistants and agents actually are. So please, by all means, take the time to check out all of the dashboard information. But like I said, what I want to do is show you how to actually set up an assistant. So I'm going to go into Breeze Studio. Again, there's intro information and a lot of information about what's possible back here in the intro. I'm going to go to the assistant tab because that's what we're working on today. And as you can see for this particular demo portal, I actually have a brand assistant, a sales coach assistant, and an ICP assistant already set up. I want to take a moment and we're going to drop into this ICP assistant, and I'm going to skip over to configure because I want you guys to see what this workspace looks like. So whether it's the ICP assistant, the brand assistant, or a custom assistant, you can make whatever you want. The configuration screen is pretty much the same regardless of which assistant you're looking at. It will ask you to create some sort of welcome message that shows up anytime anybody opens the assistant. That is the welcome message that the user gets from the assistant so that they know what this assistant is supposed to do. The other portion of this is providing instructions to the assistant. This is the whole idea of the prompt. I'm sure you guys, any of you who are starting to become familiar with AI, have heard a lot about prompts and prompt engineering. This is the set of instructions that tells the assistant exactly what it's supposed to do and how it's supposed to do it. And you will hear me say again, there is no way that you can give an assistant too much detail. The more detailed instructions you provide the assistant, the more guidance you provide it, the better the output is going to be. And again, it depends on the purpose of the assistant. This one is meant to embody our different ICPs that we've set up and provide a user with feedback from the point of view of that persona. So my instructions over here are absolutely about all of that. Where they need to go to find company information, where they need to go to find the ICP, what they're supposed to do with the ICP, all of that is written into that instruction section. The next section in the assistant builder, and like I said, it doesn't matter which assistant builder you're working on, these sections are all there and accessible, is setting the information that the assistant can use. In the case of my ICP assistant, I do actually want it to read our CRM records, so I may want it to check that one, but I don't necessarily want, in this case, because it's supposed to be internal, it's supposed to be helping me with messaging and helping me dial in the right way to talk to a particular persona. I don't necessarily want it going out onto the internet to fish for information as well. Stick with what I've given you. Other things that you can give it, you can create what HubSpot calls a knowledge vault. So when you click the add knowledge button, what it will do is it will first of all tell you what all it can currently access. So by default, it has access to our brand, our ICPs, our products and services. I also have been testing a couple of knowledge vaults, which is what you can see here as the custom items. So now to see the custom knowledge vault items, I'm going to click create. And this is how you create additional knowledge vaults to help guide an assistant along. I can give it a name, I can give it a description. Some of the things that I can add to the knowledge vault, I can add files. Let's say that I actually have a whole lot of information stored on either my hard drive on my computer or maybe a shared drive in either SharePoint or Google Drives, that we have a lot of documentation that isn't necessarily stored in our HubSpot portal. I can upload those files here and make that additional documentation available to this particular assistant to help it along. I can also go through our portal and set up, hey, look at this particular set of tickets or deals or companies or whatever. I'm going to click in one just so you can see what you have to do in order to set up some CRM objects to be available. You can't just tell it, go look at all of my tickets or all of my deals. You actually have to filter it down to what's actually relevant and helpful to this particular assistant. And as you start to configure, you will find that there is a maximum limit of records that it will go reference. There is a 500 record maximum for each object. So you can use up to 500 deals, you can use up to 500 companies, 500 contacts, 500 tickets. So that maximum number of records that the assistant will reference is why you have to go in here and filter. Because if I tried to tell it to go look at all of our tickets, well, we have way more than 500 tickets in the system. Let's filter it down to what's relevant for this particular assistant to use. So that is all of the options inside of adding additional knowledge for the assistant to use. And then the last bit is just managing who can actually access and use this particular assistant and what little image and name is going to describe this assistant. I know I went through that really fast, and I'm sure that we have tons of questions at this point. I definitely want to dive into anything that anybody has any questions, concerns, things about.
So far, the only question that's been asked of you is, OMG, when is the next session and where can I sign up?
Well, that's going to be in a month. Tricky, do you actually have the date for the?
I did, and I've provided it in the chat pane, so we're good there. Question from Tony: if you were to add companies, can you use that to introduce your current best customers?
Yes, absolutely, and that is the reason for making sure that when you add. So I'll go back over here. Whoops. Make sure that my cursor is on the right screen. So if I scroll back down here to adding knowledge. So in that case, Tony, I have one company vault here. Let me just open this up. So what was my filter? This is the fun bit. Here we go. That is not what I want. Okay. It's not going to show me what my filter was. So I will go back in here. So in order to add your top 500 companies, say Tony, you would open up the knowledge vault, give it a name and a description. It's not going to let you save until you do that. But then under your CRM objects, you would click add, tell it I want to look at companies, and then you would start filtering by whatever is valuable to you. So if we're talking about companies, you might want to filter by close date, anything that closed maybe this year, because we're getting to the end of the where's year. There we go. So that might be part one of the filters that you use. As you can see, you can add multiple filters. It might be things that closed this year and the amount of the deal was more than X, Y, or Z. Your companies and your deals and things best as to how to define which is the top 500. By all means, use multiple filters, layer it up, and dial it into that set of companies that really do most represent the type of business that you want to keep doing, and use that as your set of reference records. Is that helpful? Does that answer your question, Tony?
Say nothing if she's right. I'm sure it is. He says, yes, great.
Sweet.
Excellent. Anybody else have any more questions before Michelle moves on to another subject? So far, so great.
All right. I am just blazing through. I am going to hop back over here. Where's my screen share? I hop back into our actual pretty presentation here. Some tips. So if you have not yet experimented, played with, really it's okay to start small. Take the time to be thoughtful and careful about what types of information that you're providing to your assistant. Put in information and test it. Like once you get everything into that AI section in the system settings, go test it. Go start asking it questions about all sorts of stuff and seeing if what it's providing you as far as an output really is resonating. If it's a little too generic, if it's not quite picking things correctly, like let's say you asked it, given this scenario, what types of product or services would you recommend? If it's not quite giving you the same recommendations that you would expect to give to an actual customer, then go back in and tweak the descriptions or whatever. Try and figure out why it is it didn't quite reach for the same thing that you did. Pick one task at a time. Don't let the assistant feel overwhelming. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but at the same time, if you want to start getting used to it, just use it once a day. Pick one particular thing that you want to start learning. How does it respond to me? How do I need to write a question? What kind of follow-up questions might I need to write in order to get it to give me what I need? Just start playing in it and testing it. By all means, keep the human oversight. Assistants in particular aren't meant to be a finished product at all. It's just there to help you find answers to things quicker than you could find it on your own. And whatever, especially when you're using something like, say, the ICP assistant that's supposed to be giving you some feedback on something that you've written, just because it provided you feedback doesn't mean that you have to take it on. The good news is that the AI won't be offended if you don't take its advice. It's fine. But it does kind of help you, like I said, get you out of your own head and think about things in different ways that maybe you don't normally. And that's always helpful. But polish, don't just copy and paste, because whatever the AI produces for you is not meant to be a finished product. It's just meant to help move you through the process of ideation and creation. And my final tip is encourage the rest of your team to adopt. Once you've set it up and played with it, then start encouraging the rest of your team to play with it. As a matter of fact, I have done this with our own team. Trigvi, Shabazz is actually testing some stuff for me.
Great.
Because I want some feedback from the people that actually use those particular tools so that I can fine tune it and refine it before I waste Trigvi's time with it.
Excellent on many fronts.
So I left us tons of time for questions. Please, 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 please pepper me with questions. I want to answer them all.
And if you'd like, if you want to throw up a hand in chat or in the Q&A, I'd be more than happy to bring you off mute and you can ask your question live as well. So thank you, Michelle. I think this is really, I think the big challenge with AI, especially because there's so many different models and so many different things, is where do you really start to make it meaningful for you? And I think this was a really smart way of showing how putting in a little bit of work and the analogy of training the intern really was helpful.
Well, and like I said, this is meant to be like step one in the process. I haven't addressed agents at all because you really need these building blocks. You really need to get used to writing instructions for the AI, and obviously because the assistant isn't producing something that you might publish. It's just answering questions. It's just helping you find things quicker. It's a very low risk way to get used to how do I need to word my instructions in a way that will get this thing to do what I need it to do. Once you've gotten used to wording instructions for the assistants, then going and taking that skill that you've honed with the assistant into the agent world, where the agent could actually be doing some of this work for you, like writing and sending an email to somebody. Well, By the time you're to that point, you should be really good at writing instructions for AI so that it does what you want it to do and doesn't go off the rails somewhere. So that's part of the reason why I'm doing this in a multi-stage process where I get you to set up your AI in your system settings for all of the AI things. I'm getting you used to writing instructions in the low risk assistant environment so that when we come back next month, you have all of those skills that you've been practicing, and now you're ready for agents when we talk again next month.
And that's really a great transition to saying that your next HubSpot user group will be on December 10th. And I put the link in the chat. I will put it again there too. But while I'm doing that, feel free and add any questions that you see fit that Michelle can answer for you. Because I know this was a lot really quickly.
It is a lot. And I will say that if you guys get into this and you run into roadblocks, you're like, oh my gosh, what did she say? How was I supposed to do that? I am more than happy to have you guys reach out to me and go, now that I've been playing with it, I have questions. Yes, totally. You can reach out to me that way.
Absolutely. Well, it doesn't look like we have a lot of questions coming in. So, Michelle, thank you for your expertise and thanks for the tremendous amount of knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure.
Do we have a last slide or this is our last? So
no, we don't. We have one more slide. Hold on.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Questions 1, 2, and 3. Oh, look at that. We wanted to give credence to Maggie for making not only a robot, but a cute robot who was dressed appropriately for fall. So thanks, Maggie, wherever you are. So this has been the Twin Cities HubSpot user group for November. We thank everybody for participating and all of the great questions. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving season, and we will be back next month. We also have some events. I will be doing a webinar on what we see as marketing trends in 2026, and then Michelle will be back on December 10th. And you can find out both of those at I'm trying to type and say busyweb.com/events at the same time. And I'm I did event. Oh my goodness. busyweb.com/events. And we'd love to have you participate as well. So thanks everybody for, oh wait, we have questions. Mad amount of questions. Let's is BusyWeb having monthly webinars monthly at the same time? Tony, no, the programming is going to be different. So yes, we do have regular webinars, but if you go to busyweb.com/events, you can see which ones are helpful for you. Amanda Thingvold asks the critical question of what's the difference between assistants versus agents. So can you talk about that as a way of previewing your next hug?
Yes. So like I said, assistant is there to help you. It works with you. Whereas an agent can actually be given instruction and can go execute at least part of the task for you. So that's really the easy rule of thumb description is that an assistant works with you, an agent works for you. So we start with an assistant to just kind of get used to how the AI thinks and behaves and what kind of output it can give us. And then we move on to the agent where we can actually give the agent part of the really repetitive things to do. Like one of the things that we will probably look at next time is the prospecting agent. And one of the tasks that we can give a prospecting agent is writing cold emails over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So that's the difference. Is an assistant is only there to respond to you when you ask it a question. An agent can be set up and programmed to execute certain, mostly time-consuming, low-level type tasks.
Tony asked a great question about the prospecting agent. Is there a way to get the font type and size set up set to a particular setting?
Interesting. My first instinct, Tony, is to say I need to go look, but also what the agent is actually doing in that case is basically just crafting one-to-one emails. And so it's going to use the same settings that just your internal one-to-one email uses inside of HubSpot. So when you think about it, you can control the font a little bit, but because it's a one-to-one email, a lot of the way the font appears on the other end has a lot more to do with the way the recipient's email client is set up rather than what you did inside of HubSpot to set it up. So just keep that in mind.
Tony, you're a recovering IT person. Let me pull you. I'm going to have you pull you off mute if you don't mind, and ask you a question directly. Hey, say hello to Tony, everybody. So,
hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can hear you just fine. I think that your question is a good one. The follow-up pushback that I would give you is, as somebody who's a recovering IT professional, is that does that get into the funky nature of deliverability if you're changing the fonts of emails?
I don't know about deliverability necessarily, but just for consistency, like I've gone in and I've set the user default for myself to be Georgia 14-point font. And from there, it's mirroring what my Outlook font is. But when the prospecting agent is creating these messages, it's putting my signature on there with that same font, but yet the body of the email is totally different font and size. It's much smaller and noticeable. So just from a consistency standpoint, right now what I'm doing is having it create the message, send it to me, or have me review it before it goes out. And at that point, I'm changing and updating the font manually. But at some point, I'd like it to automatically send that out and not have to, change that font setting once the messaging is correct.
Tony, I will go look and see if there is any more control inside of Prospecting Agent. What is my email address? Give me just a second.
I think it's at least msr@busyweb.com.
You would think I would know my own email address by now, but it's like the one thing that I type the least is my own actual email.
Let me see if I can find it. Got it. I will put it in the chat so you can follow up with her. It's Michelle.
Yeah.
And for your edification too, Michelle, it's Michelle Stinson Ross at busyweb.com.
Yay.
Wonderful. And I think I got all the other questions.
So,
Red.
Tony, if you will just drop me a note really quick to remind me that I need to go look that up for you, I will, and I will find you the information and let you know like what the control is. Like I said, we can do our best to make it as consistent as we possibly can, but there is a certain degree of we don't have any control over what the personalization settings are on the recipient's end. So it tries to keep it as generic and simple as possible because there is so much customization on the recipient end.
Got it. Okay. We'll do. I'll send you some examples too from what I'm seeing. So just make sure.
Oh, fantastic. Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Great question. Thank you, Tony. Anybody else have any questions that they'd like answered? Sarah Medlio came. That's pretty amazing. Sarah's one of my favorite people in all the world. Hi, Sarah. Well, I think we'll wrap up. I had put Michelle's email in the chat, so if you have questions and want to follow up with her, you certainly can. But Michelle, thanks again for doing this, and we're excited to talk next month about agents. So I know I've learned a lot, and so really excited to see what happens next month as well.
Fantastic.
So thanks everybody for attending. This has been the Twin Cities HubSpot user group, and I think a couple others as well. We appreciate you so much. Have a great thanks. Oh shoot, another question popped up. Thank you, says Heather. Thank you as well, Heather. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Oh, Luke had a question. All right, Luke. Come off mute. Hit your mute button. Luke, you're on mute. Oh, it's on accident. All right. Well, we're going for real this time. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.